Halo, Assalamualaikum semuanya. Selamat datang di channel YouTube 3R, Rahmah Raya dan Rashidah. Jangan lupa like, subscribe, dan share ya.
And it's lights out and away we go here at Spa. Hamilton gets away well, Perez as well, covering his teammate. Hamilton moves over to cover on Sebastian Vettel, and there's looking over the crash, and Fernando Alonso goes over the top there of Charles Leclerc's Sauber. Also involved Nico Hulkenberg in the Renault. Hamilton down through the Rouge, continues to lead though, ahead of Sebastian Vettel, Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez. Up to the top of Radion, and Magnussen has made up places at the start, but here comes Sebastian Vettel. He's neck and neck with Lewis Hamilton. Vettel is a 1.2 miles of racing action all the way to the checkered flag as the crowd roar the drivers on to the final lap of this race, and Verstappen sets after Hamilton. Is it going to be a first World Championship for Verstappen? Is it going to be an 8th World Championship for Lewis Hamilton? Where can Verstappen try and get past Hamilton? First overtaking zone is normally down into turn 5. Is Verstappen far enough back? He's going to make the lunge down the inside. Hamilton sees it coming. It's a late lunge by Verstappen, who takes the lead of the race. Verstappen now snatches the championship trophy from Lewis Hamilton, who's trying to fight back.
No DRS for 2 laps, so Lewis Hamilton will not get the rear wing open. Now he's going to go down the outside. If Verstappen keeps it tight and neat, but he hasn't, he's gone a little bit wide.
This race that started with controversy is ending with controversy. Here comes Lewis Hamilton though, down the back straight. He's got a slipstream. He almost touches Verstappen. They almost make contact into turn 9. Verstappen stays ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Of all the drama, of all the controversy, of all the magic moments in Formula 1 in 2021, it comes down to this. And at this moment, it looks like it's going to go the way of Max Verstappen. Mercedes not happy. Red Bull will be delighted. They have shared a brilliant championship battle, but the championship can only be won by